Welcome, everybody, to Mentorship Mike. This is the podcast that is sponsored by Faith and Media, an initiative that worries about the next generation and is concerned with the next generation of rising media leaders, those that are involved in entertainment and journalism and social media. And today we have CJ Lindsey with us. CJ, hello.
Hello, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you again. CJ and we met, gosh, it was probably 15 to 18 months ago now. Um,
Yeah, crazy it's been that long, but yeah, I think we're pushing a couple years.
yeah. And CJ, I definitely wanted to have him on. I'll read his bio, and this will share a little bit more about why I wanted to have him on, just because of all of the great things that he has done. CJ is a content strategist and media expert who has worked with major entertainment brands, including DC Comics, you heard that right, DC, Harry Potter, Cartoon Network, TCM, Sesame Street, and others. He specializes in fan engagement, brand storytelling, consumer behavior, and media psychology. That's really interesting, the psychology part of things. CJ is also a creator and author and speaker who helps brands, schools, and startups use media strategically. So, what did we miss there, CJ? What should I have said that I didn't?
No, that's pretty good. I mean, I am in the center of how content kind of affects people, how they see it, how their minds kind of deal with what they see and how it affects the choices that they make and things like that. So yeah, most of the brands that I've worked with are WB brands because that's been the majority of my career. So any major brand under that umbrella is something I've touched for sure.
Incredible. Incredible. Well, good. Well, start off, CJ, with your journey. You said you're at WB, which you are currently. How did you get here? What does that look like? What did that trajectory look like for you?
Yeah, so I ended up I came to Los Angeles with the hope to produce kind of big budget film. I'm a big comic guy. I kind of always have been. And I went on a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is a 2-year mission where I don't consume, you generally don't consume traditional entertainment. You're kind of focused on one thing. And so when I left, superheroes weren't cool. And when I came back, suddenly superheroes were cool. And I was like, well, okay. I spent years hiding my comic books under my bed because it was a little shameful. It was a little nerdy, right? I kind of grew up in a jock home, not a nerdy home. And it provided kind of an opportunity for me to explore that. So my wife and I moved to Los Angeles. I went to film school and I wanted to produce big budget, kind of hopefully superhero films. And I finished school. And while I was finishing up school, I got a job at DC Comics. And I was working they had a streaming service that was specific to DC. So you could read digital comics as well as watch the old school cartoons like Batman, the animated series, and the old school Wonder Woman and things like that. And I was just bottom of the ladder, kind of peon, whatever they needed, I just did. And they kind of discovered quickly, like, oh, this guy really knows his stuff. He really knows the content, which that was a big surprise for me. Is one of the things that was the most shocking coming into entertainment is that I'm a very passionate guy about entertainment. There's a lot of passionate people in LA about entertainment. Not everyone that ends up in entertainment, though, are passionate about entertainment. Some of them, it's just a job, which is fascinating to me. So when I got to DC, the majority of people that I worked with actually didn't know DC comics very well. And so the fact that I had just been a super consumer for years was a benefit to me. And so I kind of worked up the ladder. I was given more responsibility and I ended up in content strategy, which was essentially when people come to this platform, what do they watch? When do they watch it? And the big question, why do they watch it? And it fascinated me. So I have a very obsessive personality. So it probably became I became too focused on it, but I was loving it and I did well there. And when WB announced that they were going to launch their own main streaming service in HBO Max, I kind of saw the line in the sand where I was like, DC Universe is its own streaming service. It's owned by WB. I don't think that both can coexist. So I think HBO Max is probably going to win. And so you could say I jumped ship and I got a job over at HBO Max doing content strategy for kids and family content. And it was there that I officially decided that my career trajectory of wanting to produce big budget film was actually not what I wanted to do anymore. Big difference between not what I wanted to do and giving up on that dream. That was not the case. I decided, no, I actually like this better, I think. Excuse me. So I ended up in kids and family, and I realized that what I was doing was I was influencing children to watch specific content. And I felt somewhat of a social responsibility there, that I was like, ooh, this feels like a lot of power in this, and I need to maybe get a little more training. So I actually went back to school where I got a master's certificate in media psychology. And that's where the psychology comes in, which was looking at basically how we consume entertainment and why we make the choices that we make about the entertainment that we watch. And so that helped me kind of climb the ladder at WB. I was given more and more responsibility. And now I'm at HBO Max I'm in charge of the content strategy for the US tent poles. So basically we look at the X amount of, it's a few titles a year, maybe 15 titles a year that are the biggest titles. And I help with the content strategy for those titles throughout the entire year. So that was kind of the journey. I had a lot of people help me along the way. I had people in my immediate circle and kind of my social circle that were really big influences for me as I continued to practice my faith. I had some faith leaders. I had a bishop that was particularly helpful in helping me understand that you can live your faith and be in the entertainment industry and you don't have to compromise, and how to balance that. As well as people that were not of my faith, that, bosses that I had, coworkers that I had that believed in me and saw something in me that helped me throughout the way. So I've been very lucky. I've been very blessed. And yeah, that's kind of the whole journey.
Incredible. Yeah. Great mentors make all the difference. Thank you for sharing that, because that is a key piece of it too. Talk to me a little bit, because it's hard for me to think of extricating your faith DNA from maybe what you do every day, right? Your faith helps create the individual that you are. How have you seen that in your day to day from a work perspective? Either maybe the leadership that you provide others, the way that you interact with others. How has your faith influenced how you work? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing. So when I first came out to LA, I was very deliberate. And honestly, I would say kind of worried that I was going to get kind of pigeonholed and that my faith was going to be my identity. And I was like worried about that. And it's, God has a plan, and it's a sense of humor. So at DC Comics, both my wife and I actually got a job there together. So we were technically on two different teams, but we worked together all the time. There was probably 20 of us ish. And my wife and I were two of those 20. And everyone found out that we were married. And then they found out that we were, as they call it, Mormons. And we very quickly became the Mormons. And it's one of those fascinating things that you can't do it with every faith, but you can do it with us, I guess. And that is, go ask the Mormons. I'm not sure. Go ask the Mormons. Or, oh, we're doing a happy hour, we should invite the Mormons. That became our identity so quickly. And it was something that I did not want. I was kind of afraid of it. I tried not to let that happen, but apparently God has other plans, because it happened immediately once people found that out. And so it kind of, I had to pivot, if that makes sense. I had to pivot from trying to be a subtle person of faith in the entertainment industry to allowing that to be one of the things that defines me. And boy, oh boy, am I grateful that I did. So God knows more than I do, it turns out. And that was something that really has helped me. So one, I found out that my faith has helped me in my career because there's a reputation that comes along with pretty much anybody of faith, anybody that lives a faith. There's kind of assumptions about honesty, about integrity, and that has helped me a lot. when there was a lot of change in the industry and there were decision makers, I found out that those decision makers had previous relationships with my faith and people of my faith. Sometimes that hurt me. Sometimes, most of the time, that helped me. And then being kind of a manager of people, I've had experiences. Yeah, being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you're looking at leadership opportunities, speaking opportunities from the time you're 6 years old. You are speaking in front of people. And then on a mission, you are leading people, you are running meetings, you are like, it's so second nature for me. And I didn't realize it until, it's being applied at the corporate level. I'm like, oh, I've been doing this since I was 6 years old. And these are some of these people's first time, right? You have interns that have just never done a major presentation in front of a lot of people. And I'm like, I regularly speak in front of 200, 300, 400 people at a time. So it has done nothing but benefit my career in every aspect. Yeah.
Great. Good to hear. Good to hear it's not a liability. Give us more generalized thoughts, because you have a unique vantage point, I think, where you're sitting, CJ. Again, just your opinion, but faith in media, and faith maybe being in mainstream media, right? Infused in mainstream media or something. Where does it sit today? If you have a barometer out, just from your personal vantage point, where does it sit today? And what do you think needs to happen next regarding faith in media? And again, I'm not leading the witness in any way. I just want to hear your thoughts. You might say, hey, it's great where it's at today, and we shouldn't change it. But I just would love your thoughts, unadulterated thoughts on this.
Yeah, this is a fascinating topic. It's one of the reasons that I've kind of, it's one of the ways and reasons that I have started to form my career, which is interesting. So where does faith in media exist right now? In really, really small pockets. That's where it exists. Mainstream, it is seen as not profitable. And if you are going to put a price tag on it, it's going to be a really, really small one. If anything about faith, and I'm talking, so what I'm talking about is content around that is faith specific, as well as anybody, like the representation of faith for the most part in media as a whole, whether that's the topic of whatever it is or not. If it's tied to it in any way, the price tag is going to drop dramatically. It's just where we're at right now. But there is something fascinating happening because of streaming. So for the longest time, the biggest shows were on publicly broadcasted television, which meant that there were certain rules around sensitive topics that you could or could not do things. So it kept a lot of the content a TV 14, right? Because if you did TV MA, which is for mature, you lose a big chunk of the audience. You can't show it between certain hours, and you can't show it in specific channels, right? So it limits you a lot. Then streaming comes around, and all of those rules are gone. You are streaming, and you can make what you want, and you can show it all the time because they opt in. And so it seemed that all mainstream media became incredibly mature, and really the morality aspect, the intrigue of anything to do attached to faith or politics or anything, it just kind of all went out the window. They're like, we can do whatever we want. We're going to explore the far reaches of content that we've never explored before. That pendulum has swung really far, but what's interesting and hopeful is that I think it's swinging back. Studies have shown, and this is in market studies as well as the psychology studies. I can send the sites that I'm specifically talking about, but it has shown that Gen Z is really not interested in being preached to and seeing sex on TV. That's one of the big things, which has kind of brought this flag of like, oh, wait a second. A huge a huge consumer audience in Gen Z that is growing, and they're entering the workforce, and they're going to have this huge impact. What we're making is not appealing to them. And there's a giant question mark that is happening, I think, in entertainment right now, which is, what does appeal to them. And everyone is going towards to like YouTube shorts, like really quick, small, attention grabbing content because the attention span is shortening. But I think that question mark of what do we make now leads to a pretty massive opportunity to say, maybe let's explore, maybe diversity is seen in normal ways and not preachy ways. So don't show me something, don't preach to me this aspect, this politically driven aspect of this story. Just show me the story. And this is what Gen Z is saying. Show me the story and let me decide. Show these people, a diverse people that have different beliefs and different opinions and land in different places, are from different places. They look different, they act different. Show me their stories and then let me decide. So it means the pendulum is swinging the other direction, which is let's yell at you, let's show you the extremes of entertainment, and more, let's just tell stories and let the audience decide. And I think with that, there's a really big opportunity for faith in media to be seen in mainstream. There are examples that are happening. I forget the name of it every time. One, Conclave is a good example of that is an entire movie. It maybe got a little preachy, but it is headed in the right direction of the entire movie is based on something faith. And it's fascinating and we're interested. And then the third Knives Out movie, Dead, something dead.
Dead.
Wake
Dead
Up Dead Man. Wake Up Dead Man. Yes. Wake Up Dead Man is another great example of we are telling this story. There is an individual who has a faith in this story. We are not telling you if it's right or wrong. We're not telling you if it's up or down or sideways or whatever. It's just a fact of the story. It is taking place in this man's life who happens to have a faith. I think we have more of an opportunity now than we have in a really long time to bring more of those characters to, because they're interesting. They're interesting characters. And the growing entertainment consuming audience of Gen Z is asking to be less preached to and more, let me make the decision. And that gives us a chance to bring faith into media.
Very interesting. Great response. Very thought-provoking there. And let's give you 4 to 5 minutes to round this out. It's been a great discussion, by the way. Would love to hear, the 20-somethings that are coming to LA right now or entering the business. It might be Atlanta, it might be up in Canada, wherever. What pieces of advice would you share with them, knowing what you know about the industry? Let's make the assumption that these are faith-filled individuals. They have a desire to continue to live their faith, but the industry in general, anything you would tie to, living their faith while they're there, and cover anything else that we've missed, because I know we're trying to get through this in half an hour, and that's sometimes not enough, although we've gotten a lot of meat so far. But what did I miss? What else would you like to cover in addition to the pieces of advice?
Yeah, so the kind of 3 pieces of advice that I would give. Number 1 would be to learn from my mistake in trying to be subtle about my faith, meaning live your faith out loud, because that does 2 things. 1, it defines you in a way that will only benefit your career. Any advice that you have heard, and you're probably hearing it from a previous generation, that hey, being a person of faith, having that faith, pushing that faith in people's faces or whatever is going to alienate people. They're not going to want to hire that guy, whatever. Not true. It's just not true. I thought it was. It's not true. 1, most people don't care at all. And 2, if they do care, it's going to be for the positive. And 3, if they care and it's negative, you don't want to work for them anyway. It weeds those people out. You're going to have problems with them anyway. If they are judging you and judging your capabilities and your enthusiasm off of your faith and saying, we don't want you, you don't want them either. So live your faith out loud. It'll just guide you in the direction. The second part about the benefit of living your life out loud is that it keeps you accountable. This is one of the things that a lot of people really worry about when they have a faith that they really believe, and they have kind of a standard of living that they believe is right for them, and they come to LA, they're afraid. I got told so many times before moving to LA that I was moving to Sodom and Gomorrah, and I was going to get influenced and I'm going to leave my faith, and I'm going to end up in the wrong place. But living my faith out loud has made me accountable to not only, the community that I'm in, but with my coworkers. At this point in my life, if I went to a happy hour and I ordered a drink that was alcoholic, my coworkers know that I do not drink alcohol, and it's part of my faith. If I did that, my coworkers who are not attached to my faith in any way would look at me and be like, you shouldn't drink. Do you know that's alcoholic? You shouldn't drink that. Like, they would keep me accountable. And there's an element of like betrayal to them that they'd be like, whoa, you're betraying. This defines
Right.
you. So it does nothing but benefit you. So number one would be live your faith out loud. The second one would be to just trust God. So what I mean by that is you are 20 something. You have lived 20 something years on this earth, and you think you know what will make you happy and what is right for you. I'll tell you right now, you know less than you think you do. And so when you come to LA and you're trying to make it in the entertainment industry, keep your mind open. At the end of every major movie that you see, there is a credit list of thousands of individuals. You are probably coming out here thinking that you want to be like one of 6 things: director, writer, actor, producer, musician, and editor. Let's throw that in there. There's a lot more than 6 jobs in Los Angeles that have to do with the entertainment industry. Keep your mind open and trust that God has your best interest in his heart, and that he will guide you to where you will be the most impactful and the happiest. That's the second one. And the third one is slightly less faith-based, though it still applies, which is network with everybody. So this is something that I discovered. My faith has benefited my career in that when I came out to LA, day one, there was a congregation of 150 to 200 people that I was immediately connected to. A bunch of them worked in the industry. I have incredible mentors that have come from my faith simply because I moved in and I was in their congregation. And then beyond that, you make the circle bigger and you include more people of your faith. That immediately becomes a part of your network, which is great. So network with everybody. The other part is less faith focused, which is I had an intern. I climbed the ranks a little at DC Comics, and then there was an intern that worked for our team. That intern, I don't know exactly what their title is, but that intern, I think, has a title that is above mine at this point. They have skyrocketed and done very well. Don't just network with the people above you, network with everybody and respect everybody. They'll make you better at your job. It's all about community. Creation is a collaborative thing. And they may end up helping you in the future, even if they're not above you, they're below you, they're whatever. Everyone can benefit you out here. So those are the three things of advice that I would give. To address the second part, as far as anything that we missed, I want to kind of go back and tell one more story that I think sums up my thoughts around faith in media pretty well, which is what took me back to school. So when I started at HBO Max and I was working in the kids and family space, that sums up a couple of things. One, I was very vocal about my faith when I started there. So I'm following my own piece of advice there. And then I trusted God in that kids and family. Sure. I don't, that was fine. It didn't make me super excited, but I'll take the job. It felt good. I prayed about it. Yeah, let's do it. And so I jumped in. That job, doing content strategy in the kids and family space, I'm going to safely say changed my life. It was an unexpected impact that it had on me. I was suddenly not consuming content that I disagreed with. I agreed with all of it. I didn't have to make any compromise. I could watch anything that was in front of me. I was watching cartoons I grew up with, and I was watching brand new cartoons that were great. It was it was nothing but hope and optimism. It was absolutely lovely. And it proved to me that number 2, which was God knows more than me. He knew that I would be happy there. He knew that that would change my life. My boss there, let's say that me and him did not agree in our faith. Very, very, very different people. But he became a mentor so quickly because he saw the passion that I had, that I just was loving it. I just loved the kids and family content. Look at the shelf behind me. It's full of toys that are on display because
Machine.
yes, there's such an inner kid in me, and it just awakened that side of me to the point that I ended up writing a book because it made me so enthused about what kids content can do and how it defines us as we grow into adults. And it's one of the reasons that we have a Masters of the Universe cartoon and that superheroes are huge right now. It's because everyone wants to return to the time that they were a kid. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but you can feel the passion. And so when I got this feeling of like social responsibility that I needed to go back to school was absolutely 100% inspired. That was God giving me this nudge that said the right thing for you in your career is to go back to school. And my response was, I hate school and I can't afford it. And then his response was, I'll make it free for you. My work paid for it. I didn't have to pay for that degree, that schooling. And then he's like, the hate part, it's all going to be about this passionate subject that you love. And man, I loved it. And he guided me every step of the way and put me in a place that I had no idea even existed. And it's made me so happy and so fulfilled. So I just want to emphasize, trust God in the process. There is a place for you. If you continue to bring him in on the major decisions in your life, you will end up where he wants you to be, and where he wants you to be is happy. And I'll end it there.
Wow, well said. Well said.
Thank you.
Just multiple golden nuggets for young people that they can learn from. So thank you. Thank you. Well, we may have you on again because I know we just scratched the surface, but yeah, great things that you shared there, CJ. Thank you again for being with us.
Of course. Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm passionate about the subject. I'm happy to chat about it anytime.
Wonderful. All right. Well, we'll see you on the next episode of Mentorship Mike. Thanks, everyone.